educational. The contents are solely for the purpose of entertainment. Names have been fabricated and bad impersonations are made to protect the sinners and the saints. The following program contains strong abrasive language, nudity, sexual situations, violence, ridiculously creative, and absurd thinking. It is not recommended that anything seen on this show or in the videos are tried at any time, in any space or place. This program is rated TV, MASLNSSVAOBS. It is intended for mature audiences only. Viewer discretion advised.
Hey, what's up? I'm Freda, and these are my co-hosts. Welcome to Altered Culture TV, episode number 4. Today's musical guests are the Memphis Vampires, the Bath Salt Zombies, Buddha Blaze, and of course, Sista. We also have a little bit of poetry from David McIntire. We have some awesome art and a really cool interview from Scott Aicher. Thank you again for tuning in. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my page, Freda Rente'and at Altered Culture. Go to Facebook, Freda Rente'and, Facebook, Altered Culture TV, Facebook, Sista, Facebook, Under the Underground, a chocolate girl's phobic adventures within the realm of rock and roll. I'm probably forgetting Facebook, Noise Fest, Facebook, The X Chemical. I kid you not, I'm really serious about this. It's not a joke. Yeah, just check out some things. YouTube, there's tons and tons of videos on YouTube under Freda Rente'and. So feel free to check some things out. Again, hit like, hit subscribe, share with your friends, your family, your enemies. Just share. Okay. As a kid, I went to museums, operas, the ballet. I loved show tunes, jazz, African chants, books, old movies, TV theme songs, animation, Xavier Cougar, all of the bands and acts on The Ed Sullivan Show, campy surf flicks, and so much more. I'm a singer, songwriter, musician, an editor, a producer, an engineer, an artist, a gardener, a milliner. I've been adored and ignored, signed to a major label, and kicked to the floor. I'm a social dropout and a social drop-in, a Tai Chi enthusiast, and a semi-functional agoraphobic, which means that I have to be creative about being creative. Although they vary in style and space, music, art, dance, sports, and life stories, they are universal. I invite you to turn on, tune in, and get turned out in the world of altered culture with me, Freda. Right now, put your hands together for Bath Salt Zombies.
There's no passion.
Okay, they were awesome. Right now, put your hands together for the Memphis Vampires.
I got 2, 4, 6, 7. I got 2, 4, 6, 7. Vampires?
We also have a little bit of poetry from David McIntire.
This is called Dark Lie. What you call skin, I call an open wound. What you call tears, I call overdue payment. You have no binoculars that will reach this distance. You've never even heard the language I sing, and there is no volume control on the sky. That's why so many of us go mad. That's why there will always be whiskey and porn and psychology. What you call morning, I call alarm clock. What you wrap around your shoulders in winter, I call a dark lie. The subway tunnel collapses as soon as you step off the platform, and yet you push your train through the rubble, through the misguided, the mistaken, and the misnomers. What you call soul crushing, I call how's the weather. What you call cracked ribs, I call stopping to smell the roses. Toes find sharpness in sand. Spring-loaded inequities of breathing will always win out in the end. Walk and talk and find failure with every slip of the tongue, because what you call truth, I call the power saw of defeat. What you call beauty, I call a cruelty of illusion. What you call justice, I call a ghost story. What you call skin, I call an open wound. Thank you.
Alrighty then, shirts and skirts, here we are. Buddha Blaze. I think Freda met them, most of the guys at a funk jam. Yeah, that I recall her saying something of the sort. And, these brothers are badass.
And they're cute, too.
Damn, there you go again.
Well, they are.
Whatever. Jeez. Yeah, so here we are. Buddha Blaze.
It's alright. Oh, baby. It's alright. It's alright. Give it to me. It's alright. It's alright. Yeah. Hey. 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 Baby, baby. Hey. Right there. Well, it's not just a family. This is a movement. Athletes walk down to the Lord. The University Zone stands for the people, by the people. 24/7, 365, as I strive to stay alive. The government of games, leave low. Along with the social standards of righteous men. Man on the keys, Larry Jazz, playing it bad. We have sleep now. And the king of the beat is money stand up and salute y'all. Mr. Blue, Blue, Blast coming through. Do what I got to do. Say to y'all. Mr. Blue, Blue, Blast on your toe. Kick like kung fu into our blue. Do harm to others and they do harm to you. Free your mind, your soul will follow through. The rest is up to you. When you do that thing, I'll be Blue Blaze. And I'm blazing the ways of the righteous ones. Come on. I'll be Blue Blaze. Thank you very much. Thank you. Well, gotta have it. Well, said I love it. And I leave there. Tell you that. Ain't no mountain high enough. Ain't no valley low enough. Never could have be wide enough. I can't be thinking what I'm gonna do. Said I like that. Said I love that. Said I do that. Check it out. Well, there was an issue that was all right from the start. I remember you and sent you a call just as I said. Out in the rain, a diva on top of the game. I got some dollars for your birthday. One gun stop your party. Pay-per-view, the world can see. I'm a figure you on select TV. Never could I ever trade. But I will be in love with the Lord Supreme. Let's put it in the front of Sloan and Mary. Plus you was the favorite of Barry. No one ever felt, but here's the deal. My love for you can never conceal. The feelings I have don't last forever. And this is what I tell them. Ain't no mountain high enough. Ain't no valley low enough. You could never be wide enough. Keep me from making you what I wanna do. But I like it. But I love it. But I need it. Take it over. Big beautiful, well-knocked, pretty white smile. You are more than a love child. Stone love, believe in the song. From the nitty-gritty down to the bone. My church used to be your home. Motown, Huntsville, USA. A nigga like you was on your way to the silver screen doing good things. Ladies in the blues, write reviews. You and Billy D was meant to be. Listen to me, and my heart in me. Scarecrow, Tin Man, Lion, even Taylor too. I will ease down the road with you. I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm with you. So check it out. My friends call it. Say it better so they know. I was jealous when you did the CEO. Do you know where you're going to? I don't know, but y'all do. Store shine bright like a supernova. Wishing on a four-leaf clover each rover. Store shine bright like a supernova. That's why I gotta say like over and over. Ain't no mountain high enough. Ain't no valley low enough. Never could have be wide enough. Keep me from taking you what I wanna do. Say I like it. But I love it. And I need it. Check it out. Ain't no mountain high enough. Ain't no valley low enough. Never could have be wide enough. Keep me from taking you what I wanna do. And I like it. But I love it. So I need it. Check it out. Ain't no mountain high enough. Ain't no valley low enough. Never could have be wide enough. Keep me from taking you what I wanna do. But I like it. But I love it. But I need it. You bitch.
Okay, so you know what's coming up now.
Sista, sin.
Sister. Sin. Sister, sin. Let's do this.
make sure that he pays the ladies. I'm only here to make sure that there ain't no change. I'm only here to make sure that shit gets going on. I'm only here to make sure everything's on the one. I'm only here to make you love me. I'm only here to make sure you love yourself. I'm only here to make sure the baby's laid. I'm only here make sure that we rise above. I'm only here. I'm only here. I'm only here. I'm only here. I'm over here. Can't you see here to make sure things go right. Oh, I'm only here to make sure no fight. I'm only here to make sure that there's love. I'm only here to make sure that we rise above all the sadness, all the gloom, all the hurt in this room. I'm only here to spread your joy. I'm only here, and I don't want to hear no bullshit noise. I'm only here. I'm only here. I'm only here not to waste my time on tears. I'm only here to smile and shine. I'm only here to make sure that you make your mind. I'm only here. I'm only here. I'm only here. Only here to make sure things are right. I'm only here to make sure there ain't no fight. I'm only here to make sure we share love. I'm only here to make sure that we rise above. I'm only here. I'm only here. I'm only here. I'm only here. All right. Right now we have an interview with Scott Aicher. He's done band logos and he's worked in, I want to say, corporate America. He probably wouldn't agree. He's done magazine layouts and all sorts of things. I like his paintings. He has a studio here at Crafted in San Pedro, and you can stop by anytime and purchase something, say hello, check out his stuff, you know, get something for a gift or for yourself. He also does signature guitars and things of that nature. He paints them as in signature. Okay, here we are at Crafted today. It's a Sunday with the wonderful, incredible Scott Aicher. This man has had a career in the art industry for how long?
Well, I mean, I probably started doing artwork when I was 5.
Okay.
But professionally, career-wise, I kind of worked my way through things because I didn't have much college background. And I went back to college whenever I needed classes, so I wouldn't say I wasn't without schooling, but I've been doing things professionally since I was about 19. So I started in print shops and worked my way up to art departments, and then eventually got onto doing my own thing, which is where I'm at today.
Okay, so let's go back to when you were 5. I mean, did you start with coloring books, or, I mean, who inspired you? How did this start?
Well, when we were kids, we read Mad Magazine, and I would trace my comic books. My parents worked at an insurance agency, and it was really boring there. So they would buy me comic books sometimes, and I would take the tracing paper from the typewriters and trace the images from my comic books. So that's kind of how I started learning how drawing worked. And I spent sort of half my time out with my friends, and the other time when I was younger, just in my room drawing. And I was always kind of like the solitude of drawing, and it was kind of like a meditation for me ever since I was a kid. So it was kind of like my escape. So.
Now, do your parents draw? Anybody in your family have a history?
My mom's a great painter, and my grandmother was a painter too, and all 3 of us used to paint together. And my sister used to get really envious and jealous of us because we all had that bond together. But she's my biggest fan and one of my main people that I like to show my work to because she just loves what I do and that kind of thing. She's a big inspiration to me too, so I should mention her. But yeah, I mean, I painted with my grandmother, my mom growing up, especially, and my family just got together a couple weeks ago, and everyone painted together. So we sometimes we do things like that occasionally. And my mom's getting back into painting too recently, which is really exciting for me because we're painting together again, and it's kind of a really nice time. Yeah, it makes me kind of tear up too. So
did you remember the little sketches in the newspaper that they would give you in the little squares and that were helpful for drawing, and they went to some sort of art college or something like that? Did you ever do those?
Sure, I did those. I did those, but I don't think I ever sent anything in like that. But when I was really young, they had an art class for adults, and it was taught by Paul Conrad, who was a political cartoonist for LA Times. And my family is very. I had a lot of people in my family were mostly Democrats on my mom's side of the family, so they're very and very liberal. My aunt was a professor of English at Long Beach State and used to write political poetry, so they signed me up for this class. And Conrad was an older guy. He was the guy that was famous for doing political cartoons, and he said, I don't know if you're going to be able to keep up with the class, but every time I wound up getting into a class like that, I just kind of fell into place with it and did my thing. And by the end of the class, he liked what I was doing, and he knew I was gonna go forward. I always did well with art classes. Other classes I didn't do well at all, but art classes I always, even at college level when I went into take college classes I took a class at Art Center, and I had a teacher, Gary Meyer, there that did all the album covers for Chicago. And he said the same thing to me. He said, since you're not going here full time, you're gonna have a hard time keeping up. And by the end of the class, he said, can we have some of your work to hang on the wall? So I think I did okay in the class, and like I said, he was one of those guys that taught me. I mean, the things I learned were more skills, and I think the most important thing is because I love art so much that the skills were easy to learn, and it's easy to learn skills. But if you love what you're doing, no matter what it is, if you're doing art or music or whatever, the skills you can learn, but if you have it in you, if there's something you want to do, that's what I tell everyone, especially people that want to get into doing artwork and things like that.
You choose happy colors.
Yeah, well, that was another thing too. That when I worked with Aaron White, I don't know if you remember him.
I do.
From town. Aaron, when we used to work together on projects and things all the time, he painted everything in sad colors. I'd say everything that you paint is so sad, and but that was his emotion that he painted.
Yeah.
And he used to get frustrated with me. He said, your colors are too happy. You're never going to sell your work with these happy colors. And I got to a point where at first I didn't understand that. And then I put my stuff in a gallery, and I had some pink in one of my paintings. And the guy at the gallery said, you can put pink in your paint. I'm not going to tell you what to paint and what to do, but if you put pink in your paintings, they're not going to sell. And I kind of thought to myself, why is that? And I said, why would I be afraid of any color to put in my paintings? And then I said, well, I'm going to put pink in every painting. So I try intentionally to put pink for sure because I think I understood what he was saying. It was like there's guys out there that are afraid of certain colors, and I thought that was kind of one of the things. Like, okay, I have to stick with the bright colors and definitely include pink when I can. So I tried. Like I said, I had a time when I was working with the same primary colors, and my mom said, what color? We were at the art store, and she said, what colors are you using? And I said, well, I use this, this, and this, and the same primary colors. And she said, which ones don't you have? And I said, well, I don't. She said, have you heard of alizarin crimson? And I said, no. And put that in the basket. So I came out with this big basket of paints, and I still have a lot of them here that I'm working with today. And when I figured that was the key to it was get as many different colors as you can and try them out. I mean, just try it out and see where it goes. And eventually, everything kind of you kind of learn how to work with it. And that's what when I went to college, I thought I needed to know. I can't go paint in school because I need to know color theory and all that kind of stuff. There's no color theory. You just need to go in and work with it. And like I say, Gary Meyer taught me. You got warm colors, cool colors. He said, you're fine with your colors. You just need to set up, and you're making yourself tired. When it worked, he said you should have a ritual every day when you set up to paint. You should get everything comfortable for you, within reach, and have everything. And he said the reason you're not completing your work is because you're making yourself tired, because you're reaching over and you're in the wrong space. Make sure you're comfortable, and so you can enjoy the process, and you can get through and complete the work. So thank you for Gary for teaching me that. And like I say, he's one of the. And I had another artist in the class, Michael Hussari. He was a dark artist, and he used to borrow my juxtaposed magazines in class. And I used to watch him paint sometimes, and he had a different approach to painting too. He would do like these sepia undertones to his paintings, and he would paint that first, and then he would like layer it, and he would do colors on top of that, which brought. And I use that technique sometimes. I mean, that's the thing. I learned the old masters techniques and things like that when I was in school, and those are things that the teacher didn't show me, but I learned that from watching another guy sitting next to me. So go to school, and not just the teacher's going to show you things. You know, you're going to learn from other artists, and of course, everyone that knows Michael Hussar has gone on to become a pretty well-known artist, and I'm building my. I'm still building my clientele a little bit still, but
that's awesome though.
And I think we had the models that were there were the Clayton brothers. I think were teachers there that used to model for us, and I painted them a few times, and I remember thinking, well, those guys are artists, right? Because I knew their work, and they're another favorite couple of brothers that paint, and I got so into their work because I got to paint those guys, and they became such a big part of my style because I thought, and when I talked to those guys, it was like, if you get a chance to go to art school, you should definitely do it, because you meet these personalities and these people that are so inspiring, and it like with those guys, they were like so much fun to talk to, and they were so happy to be there in the moment and doing their thing, and just to be part of the class and to be models for us. They love seeing people's paintings of them, and that's fun to do too. It's like when someone sees something that gets inspired by something that you've done of them, and it inspires you. It makes people happy, and I'm supposed to be happy, right?
Yeah. So then, as a child, did you see yourself as becoming an artist, or what did you see yourself becoming? No, because I had my uncle. Growing up, I did see myself as an artist from very young. But my parents were sort of saying it's going to be really tough as an artist, and there weren't jobs for artists growing up, and it was just something that I just stuck with, and it's something that I just had to have. It's something I have to do on a regular basis, and it's a therapeutic thing for me, because once I start working at it, I kind of get into a zone, and meditative type of zone, and when I start working, and time sort of seems to fly by, and it's kind of how it works for me, and I don't really, I just let it happen,
And so where was I going with this? I lost track. But no, I mean, I just, I mean, for me, really, yeah, it's really something that I have to do to keep myself kind of centered.
So, is it safe to say that you didn't see yourself as being anything other than an artist in your life?
I didn't. People around me wanted. I think my parents wanted other things for me, but I think my mom is really kind of glad that I stuck to what I'm doing, even though she never really understood the styles and the things that I worked with and my style of art, because she's more into impressionism and things. I love that art too, and she taught me a lot about that side. She gave me an art history through art books growing up, and she took me to museums a lot. Even when I was very young, we used to go to museums when, just for the weekend. We'd spend the weekend and we'd go places with my grandmother, and so yeah, I definitely I had no other plans but to be an artist. And even in school, when they tested me, they said I was supposed to be a forest ranger. So I could see that. So I guess artist is okay for me.
It's summer. It's hot. It's beautiful. The birds are singing. The hummingbirds are soaring and fighting. The plants are growing. Actually, quite a few of the plants look as though they've been set aflame. They're pretty beat up, but we'll get through it. I know it's been a moment, and I would like to apologize for taking so long to get around to this episode. It's been a little bit difficult, although I will say I've been doing some live shows and lots of studio sessions and some other things are going on. I have actually been editing my autobiographical documentary, which is Under the Underground, a chocolate girl's phobic adventures within the realm of rock and roll. Who knows if that title will remain the same or if it shall change? Who knows? I don't know. I have another project that I'm working on with a few wonderful women. I'll tell you a little bit more about that later, perhaps in another episode. It's still very fresh and new, and I'm not certain as to whether the author is ready to share anything or not. So we'll just. But anyway, let's see what else is going on. There's just so much going. I'm a mermaid. I finished my very first silicone tail. That was really quite a challenge. I really like it though. I just also did a halter top to match. That's been rather exciting. I'll tell you what's really funny is there's no quicker way to get my family off the phone than to say I'm a mermaid. It's like telling them that I'm on crack or I'm a whore or I murdered someone or some shit like that. It's telling them that I'm a mermaid is like, hey, they're like, hey, what's going on? I'm like, hey, I'm a mermaid. They're like, okay, we'll talk to you later. Did you hear that voice? That was my uncle. Okay, so yeah, back to, let's see, what else is going on? Heck, oh, well, yeah. So I'm currently working on my second tail, which is also going to be silicone. It's a yellow and a red. I've done couple of headsets or headdresses, headpieces, whatever you want to call them. I've created, I've done quite a bit. The tops for my mermaid tails. I've been pretty busy. Some jewelry, cameos, things of that nature. I'll show you a little bit of that too, because otherwise, sharing is caring. So again, I'm gonna ask you to hit that like button and hit subscribe. I want to thank you all for tuning in. You've been wonderful. Thank you for your patience. Sorry it's taken so long. It's still the baby. This shit is kind of hard. It is. It's time consuming and it's difficult. I cannot tell a lie. It's kind of crazy too. The score. To all you rockers, nodders, clappers, stompers, bobbers, and all of you, do your thing, because no one can do it for you. Peace. Thanks for tuning in. I'm out.